Here's Ian in Islington. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, I was on the march at Millbank. I didn't go into the building or anything, but seeing people's faces there and then again on the screen, it's a nonsense to think they were all anarchists, all thousands of them who were crowding in. And actually, I think David Cameron's the anarchist in all of this, tearing away at the state, dismantling services, because these rich people that he represents don't need a society, don't need a government, and that's why there's so much anger. And I think you're right. I think you said before that there's even more anger at the Lib Dems, because unlike the Tories, they pretended to be something else before the election and betrayed us. And seeing the anger that was at Tory HQ, I'm just glad Nick Clegg's HQ didn't happen to be on the way of the protester. I don't know what would have happened.
Now, tell me this. I mean, you've presumably been on other demonstrations. Am I not right in saying that we would not be discussing this tonight, and this issue would not be filling the newspapers and the airwaves, if there had not been a highly unusual departure from the normal procession from A to B?
Absolutely. I mean, Stop the War marches often get far more than 50,000, at least did in their heyday a few years ago, and were hardly reported at all, which is actually an incitement and incentive to more violent protests.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happens, and we'll see. There's another Stop the War march next Saturday. What happens is the newspapers don't report the demonstration. Indeed, even newspapers like The Guardian have told us, verbally, but told us that they have a policy of not reporting demonstrations. And secondly, the police and the media conspire to ridicule the numbers on the march, so that when there's 50,000, the police announce there was 15,000, even though they've usually ramped up the overtime in order to get enough police for a 50,000. These two things are normal. I speak as someone who's organised more demonstrations than I care to remember.
Yes, which undercuts the NUS president's point about it being undermined by the violence. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was more the other way around.
Well, I was at the poll tax riot. I was on the plinth in Trafalgar Square with my 8-year-old daughter at the time, and I was absolutely horrified by the scenes that were unfolding in Whitehall and around the square, and which then, of course, spilled over into central London. I was absolutely horrified by it, but there's no doubt that that helped set in motion the defenestration of Margaret Thatcher and the scrapping of the poll tax.
Well, then, let's hope history really will repeat itself. Another theory, the Tories might come against the students harder now that we've pissed on their post, so to speak, but what more can they...
Well, we can't have that kind of language, Ian. Here's Conrad.